Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back to News Dose. And a previous PlayStation console exclusive is now finally heading over to Xbox. This has been a long time coming. A lot of fans have really wanted this for years and years, and Square Enix and Xbox's Phil Spencer finally made it happen today. When everybody plays, we all win. The story continues on, though, because it sounds like this is not the only game that's going to be coming from Square Enix. It looks like their relationship is blossoming right now, and we will get into that today. Also, PlayStation announced a new promo that fans need to know about. The time to buy a PlayStation 5 is right now, though I think the timing of this is rather interesting, and I will explain why today. To get things started off, though, we got some great news for Pikmin 4 and fans of this franchise. I think some people kind of view the Pikmin series as one of Nintendo's more overlooked IP. I mean, just from a quality standpoint, these games are absolutely top tier, no doubt about it. But they're not necessarily among Nintendo's best-selling franchises. However, that's where things get really interesting, because Pikmin 4 put up some huge numbers over in Japan for its first week, where it sold 402,000 units in Japan alone. And to just kind of put that into perspective, here's the first week sales for the other mainline Pikmin games. The first game sold 90,000, the second sold 160,000, and then Pikmin 3 sold roughly 93,000. So Pikmin 4's first week sold more than the other three's combined first week. That is pretty incredible stuff, and just once again, that Switch effect, it's a very real thing. I mean, technically, Pikmin 3 released on the Switch already, I get it, but that was a re-release of a Wii U title, whereas Pikmin 4, this is a brand new game built specifically for the Switch. So, a little bit of a different situation. All I know, though, is that I couldn't be any happier by the results. It's great to see Pikmin get this type of recognition, because it truly is a phenomenal series. Definitely go check out Pikmin 4 when you get the chance. Now, we also got an update on the Xbox emulation situation. This has kind of been an on and off thing for the last year, but earlier this month, there was this big story about how a group by the name of Pawn Store found a way to evade Xbox's rules on emulation. Apparently, they found a loophole and they could get emulators running on retail mode by you subscribing to their Patreon for $2 a month, and then they would distribute this package to their subscribers. Now, that's where I drew the line. We'll come back to that here in just a moment, but their entire idea revolved around avoiding detection for as long as possible, and then re-uploading it if it gets removed by Microsoft. They were quoted as saying, "Short of Microsoft enforcing manual reviews for every upload, I can't think of any countermeasure they could employ that I couldn't work around." Well, Microsoft said, okay, fine, we'll play this a different way. We don't need to weed out these apps to remove them. Instead, their countermeasure is to simply ban people who are using these emulators in retail mode. Reportedly, they're now handing out 15-day bans for those who are guilty. Now, this seems to be more of a warning shot than anything else. They could have easily pushed out more severe bans if they wanted to, but I think right now they're just trying to make a point. Like, we try to be nice about this, but it stops here. My thing about this whole situation, though, and I said this in a previous video on this topic, but if you really want emulation on the Xbox Series, just do it in developer mode. As soon as I saw somebody try to make money off of retail emulation through subscriptions, I genuinely had to pause for a moment. Is that really more convenient than just doing it in developer mode, where you can swap back and forth between it and retail mode? Developer mode doesn't affect your Xbox negatively, as you can swap back and forth. Yeah, you do have to pay $20 for the developer mode license, but at least after that, you don't have to worry about your apps being removed, or in this case, being banned. Now, since we're on the topic of Xbox, though, they actually made a big announcement today in partnership with Square Enix, out of all publishers. I mean, it's been a while since we've talked about those two working together. Their relationship has been amiss, no doubt about it. But Phil Spencer and Yoshi P announced on stage that Final Fantasy XIV is officially coming to Xbox in early 2024 via an open beta alongside the 6.5x patch, and then its full release is planned for spring of 2024. It's also confirmed to have faster load times. Xbox will get the the upcoming expansion, and it includes crossplay with PlayStation and PC. When we all play, everyone wins. But there it is. And I mean, this has been such a long time coming. Back in 2019 at their XO19 event, Phil Spencer pledged to bring Final Fantasy XIV to Xbox. But, I mean, pretty much since then, we really haven't heard much of anything, to the point that a lot of people had kind of given up on this happening. And I really can't blame them. It's been well documented that Square Enix and Xbox seemingly has had a rough relationship here recently, but that right there is the other part of this story. Not only is Square Enix porting one of the most popular MMORPGs to Xbox after being exclusive to PlayStation and PC for more than a decade, but Phil Spencer also said this on stage.
We deeply respect the rich legacy of Square Enix, and we look forward to building on the relationship that we've established in bringing Final Fantasy XIV to Xbox, and partnering closely with you and the Square Enix team on future games.
And even after making this statement live on stage, he doubled down by posting this on Twitter. Enjoyed being on stage with Yoshi P and Kiryu-san to announce Final Fantasy XIV coming to Xbox. We're thrilled that the Xbox community will join the Warriors of Light, and here's the important part, and we look forward to partnering closely with Square Enix on future games. Now, Square Enix also echoed a very similar sentiment as well by saying, and one more thing, as CEO of Square Enix, we want to continue to deliver fabulous games to fans across the world, and of course, we want to welcome the Xbox community as well. And starting with today's announcement of Final Fantasy XIV coming in spring of 2024, and whenever possible, we are planning to bring our games to Xbox for players around the world to enjoy. We're really looking forward to working closely with Phil and the Xbox team to make this possible. So right there it is for all of the concern out there regarding Xbox and Square Enix. It appears they have fixed their problems, at least to some extent, and more content is on the way. Now it's really just kind of a question of what content should we expect. Well, new games for one will more than likely be multi-platform, including Xbox, but Phil was also quoted as saying this: expect more Final Fantasy content on Xbox. So you can at the very least expect some more Final Fantasy games to appear on Xbox from this point forward. Now, I imagine the Pixel remasters will eventually happen. Those are the existing games that kind of seems to be the most realistic here, though I know where everybody's mind's going to go with this one, and that's immediately going to be on Final Fantasy VII Remake and Final Fantasy XVI. With this news, is there now a chance that those games could actually come over to Xbox? And I think that this situation is a little more complex. A lot of this just kind of comes down to the contracts that Square Enix signed with Sony. How long did Sony lock those games down for? Or shall I say, how long did Sony pay to exclude Xbox? Did they pay for permanent console exclusivity, or did they pay for something timed? Well, the thing that we know about this situation right now comes in a way of a CMA and Microsoft document where it was mentioned that in addition to having outright exclusive content, Sony has also entered into arrangements with third-party publishers which require the exclusion of Xbox from the set of platforms these publishers can distribute their games on. Some prominent examples of these agreements include Final Fantasy VII Remake, the upcoming Final Fantasy XVI, and the recently announced Silent Hill 2 Remastered. Now, I've seen some reports claim that this statement means that these games are exclusive forever, but honestly, unless I'm missing something here, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I never really read it that way. It never actually mentions whether these are timed or permanent exclusions, but regardless, it's also the same reason I wouldn't necessarily hold my breath for an Xbox port anytime soon. It really just all kind of depends on Sony's contract. That's what we know. Sony and Square Enix are in some type of contract to keep those games exclusive. The timing is the big question here. Now, a few other Final Fantasy games, though, that does come to my mind are those rumored remakes of Final Fantasy IX and Final Fantasy X. This does improve the chances that those will come over to Xbox as well, and that that is really, really good news. Regardless of what happens with 7 and 16, though, I'm sure that there are some other ports that could be really good for Xbox. Octopath Traveler 2, in fact, that is a much needed port that comes to mind. Let me know what you all think about all this, though. Are you excited for Final Fantasy XIV on Xbox, and which games are you most hoping to be ported over to Xbox now that the two are closely working together again? Now, PlayStation, they also had some big news of their own today as they just announced a summer promotion where you can get the PlayStation 5 at its biggest discount yet. Now, this will vary by country, and some retailers have slashed the price even more, so you might want to check this out yourself. But it appears most places are offering the PlayStation 5 for about £75 or 75 euros off its regular price. It's also expected to get a $50 temporary discount in the United States as well. Again, keep in mind that this is temporary, not permanent, as it runs into early August, depending on your location. You will need to check your specific region to see how long this promo is valid. But I mean, if you've been eyeing a PlayStation 5, the time to buy it is right now. I mean, I personally think it's a great console. I'd highly recommend it. It's got a lot of great games. I've been enjoying Final Fantasy 16 recently. Spider-Man 2 is also around the corner. But that's the thing about this promo. The timing is very interesting, and not just because of Spider-Man 2, but rather there's been a lot of rumors that a new PlayStation 5 SKU is around the corner. A PS5 with a detachable disc drive. And according to Tom Henderson, this SKU is meant to replace the current models that are on the market, which I think makes sense. They would no longer need those original models as they would kind of be redundant. Now, if this does turn out to be the case, though, this is actually really smart. It'll probably be easier to manufacture just one model as opposed to two. And the thing that I personally like about this is that consumers can pay that cheaper price for a digital console and then build on if they want that disc drive later on. They don't necessarily have to choose between a physical and digital console on that initial purchase. They'll now have the option post-purchase rather than being locked to digital only. I mean, early in this generation, as an example, it was difficult to find a PlayStation 5, and some people, they were buying the digital version because that was all that was available to them. And because of that, they were unable to play their physical PlayStation 4 library that they own via backwards compatibility. A detachable disc drive, though, that would solve that issue. So I really do like this idea. I hope that it is true. And this PS5 discount could be further proof that this leaked console actually exists. They might be trying to clear up stock for their new replacement. The last thing that we're going to talk about here, though, is Red Dead Redemption. There's been a lot of rumors that a remaster is coming. I mean, this has not been a very well-kept secret if it's coming, but this story still continues to evolve. You can see here, posted by Tez2, a new logo has now been spotted on Rockstar's website that shows Rockstar presents Red Dead Redemption. This also includes a codename RDR1RSP, possibly referring to Red Dead Redemption Remastered 1 single player. Quite the mouthful there, but with all the rumors swirling about this game, I believe this game is coming, and its announcement seems to be relatively soon. If this is true, though, where will they announce it is kind of the next question. Gamescom is probably the easy bet to make here. Jeff Keighley is hosting another event this year, and I imagine that it will have a big viewership to it, so that would make sense if it's a soonish release. But one way or the other, there's more smoke that a Red Dead Redemption remaster exists. Let's go take a look at the poll of the day, though. We're asked you all, what new game releasing in August 2023 are you most excited about? And I'm honestly thrilled to say this. Armored Core 6 won with 42% of the votes, and Baldur's Gate 3 took second place with 31%. Now, there's several other exciting games that I couldn't include on this list, such as Bomb Rush Cyberpunk for you Jet Set Radio fans out there, as well as Sea of Stars. I'm personally hoping that game is as good as it looks. I mean, it looks stunning, but I'm with you all here. Armored Core 6 all the way. Those early previews completely sold me on this game. I've never really gotten into the Armored Core series myself, but I mean, I'm telling you right now, I'm excited to dive in next month, and it's nice to see a lot of you all are as well. For you Armored Core fans out there, it seems like those early previews combined with From Software's growing reputation is taking the Armored Core series to new heights. I fully expect this game to break franchise records when it releases next month. Of course, we can't forget about Baldur's Gate 3. It's only been 20 plus years since Baldur's Gate 2's original release, and it's an all-time great RPG franchise. So to see it come back under Larian Studios' leadership, I'm expecting another top-tier quality RPG from them, much like Divinity Original Sin 2. I do have high expectations for this game. So if anything else, it should be another fun month for gamers. This year, though, I mean, it has been absolutely crazy. I legitimately believe that this might be one of the best years in gaming history. It's just been nonstop. Anyways, though, that's it for this episode. But if you liked the video, don't forget to pound notification and subscribe button for more content just like this. Also, if you'd like to support the channel through Patreon, thank you for making this content possible. Peace out.